Had some audio difficulties. It happens. We've been doing this a long time. Ain't the first, ain't the last time we're going to have an audio. No. So let's start over. We are live at the 2300 Arena here in South Philadelphia. Big 7-bout card tonight, Kings Promotions. Atif Oberlton in the main event, taking on Brent Oren. Marc Rich Quinones. Rich will be joined by Marlene Esparza, the WBC flyweight champion of the world. And Rich, let's talk the fights.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned it, right? That main event, Atif and Brent Oren. Atif, we know about that amateur pedigree, decided to give an opportunity up for the Olympics, wanted to turn pro, 3-0, heavy-handed. First time basically fighting in his backyard with his family and friends. And I really think he's going to make a statement now. You got a battle of two southpaws, and you got an opposition who comes in coming off the best win of his career. I mean, I think it was he defeated Omar Salim. So at the time, who was undefeated. So you've got a tale of two fighters. You got a very good undercard as well. We're going to see one of our favorite fighters, Edgar Torres, Roberto Puchetta taking on Jonathan Rodriguez. So I think that's going to be an interesting fight. But I'm really looking forward to this main event because I want to see if the young gun can take out his opponent early.
Our main event was supposed to be James Bernadine and Jeremy Cuevas.
Yep.
Cuevas injured his ankle. So what are your thoughts? Bernadine jumping in to fight Edgar Torres now.
Yeah, and listen, you got Torres, who's an 11-fight vet. He's got a little bit of knockout for a guy that's 38, 39 years of age. He has dropped 2 straight after winning 6 in a row. He's been floored in those fights. I think, if anything, Bernadine's going to come out. He's going to be looking for the knockout early in this one. But, again, you've got a grizzled vet, just like with Roberto Puchetta taking on Jonathan Rodriguez.
Jonathan Rodriguez is an interesting fighter. He's fought a couple times on national TV, suffered his first loss on the Top Rank show a couple fights back. And now he's rebounded with a couple wins. He's a bantamweight prospect out of Bethlehem, PA. He's a guy who, like you said, fighting a 32-fight veteran in Vaqueta tonight. And, chance to kind of take another step forward.
Yeah, no, excellent point. He suffered that loss against Flores, came back, and he had to win against Sebastian Baltazar. So I like Rodriguez. I think he had a very strong camp. And again, what fighter is going to tell you they didn't have a strong camp? I think he's got this quiet confidence about him. But I also think, when you go up against a 32-fight veteran, forget about the fact that he's been dropped 11 or 12 times. You might be able to get some rounds in here, and maybe he shows you a couple different looks that you haven't seen thus far.
Absolutely. And then an interesting heavyweight prospect, 1-0 Devin Young out of Aiken, South Carolina, signed with Split Team Management, who are the top players in the game right now. Facing Nicoy Clark, a guy we've seen a bunch of times on our air. He's 2-6. But he's a tough nut to crack, Nicoy Clark. He's actually a school teacher, I believe, from Jersey City.
Well, he might get an education tonight. I mean, Young's coming in here again, young fighter, 23 years of age, that KO in his pro debut against who was a Kenny Thomas, I believe. And you mentioned Clark, 2-6, upside down record. You kind of throw it out the window, so to speak. He has dropped 5 in a row, but it's a 4-rounder. So I like to see some of these young guys, see if they, maybe let the round kind of evolve for them, because I think what happens, and maybe you'll agree, maybe you won't, a lot of times with these young fighters, when they've got the good pedigree, they're young prospects, they're heavy-handed, they want to come in and they want to close the show early on. And I think sometimes it's good to maybe get a round or two and feel your opponent out, and then obviously try to go for the stoppage.
Julian Gonzalez, a kid that we saw score a big knockout the last time out, 4-0, taking on Tyrick Gainey.
Yeah, I like this kid. I mean, he moves around well, heavy-handed. He's a smart fighter. He picks and chooses his spots. He can bang. He can box. Don't know too much about Gainey. Only one bout under his belt, Marc. But I believe this is 4 rounds slated at 122, contested at 122. But no, Gonzalez is another young 19, 20-year-old that I'm excited to watch.
There's another kid that we have talked about and seen a whole bunch of times. If Oberton's the most talented fighter on the contest, not far behind is Quadir Albright.
Yeah. No, here's another one of my, you're not supposed to have favorites, so to speak, but there's something about this kid, right? I don't like to say the it factor, but the way he just kind of carries himself. Again, he was in there. He's got some good sparring. He basically is. I know when you did your pod that you do during the week leading up to these fights, he basically came out and said, yeah, you know what, I'm on point. Weight's been on point, sparring's been on point, and I'm going to knock out Hernandez. So, let's see if he backs it up tonight against the 8-fight veteran and William Hernandez, who comes in with a 7-1 record and 4 knockouts.
How about also another good fighter on the card, Rasheed Johnson, a kid who's dropped a few fights, but he's a puncher and he's looking to get back on the winning track.
Yeah, he's 7-4 with 3 knockouts. He's come in with a couple losses. I actually think this might be a get right fight for him against Andres Abercart. Yeah, and look, you're going against a guy that has 3 straight losses. So I think if anything, Johnson and look, at 29 years of age with 11 fights under his ledger, I think he wants to maybe expedite the process, so to speak, close out the year with a bang, and then maybe be a little more active and get some more bouts under his belt.
Well, let's everyone tune in 7:00. If you're in the area, come down to 2300 Arena. A few tickets still left, not many. So if you're coming down here as they shut the lights out,
the show's closed.
I guess it's a cue for us to get out of here. We will see you at 7:00. Rich and Marlon doing the commentary. I'll be doing the post-fight interviews, and hope to see you soon.